Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
I try to tell myself that cat is not a big deal. It's not true, but it helps you to stay calm, especially given my poor experience before this. So I think that helped me stay in a very calm frame of mind, which is essential to cracking such exams. Talking about my undergraduation degree, it's a B.Sc in economics. So what sets it apart from the others is that it's a triple majors. It's not economics honors as many mistake it to be. We had three subjects, statistics, economics and mathematics, and all three were major subjects. And why I chose this is simply because I was pretty sure I was not comfortable with psychology and such subjects. So I found out that apart from Xavier's, Mumbai, this was and the only good college that offers it. And I made the choice between Xavier's and Christ. My work started off as a business intelligence consultant, which to break it down into simpler words, nothing but reporting data, making sense out of data depending on the context. If it's a retail customer, we have to find out ways he can look at his profitability, his margins, his sales volume, inventory costs, so on and so forth. Then soon, because I was from a statistics background and had some economics context as well, they thought I'll be a good fit in their newly formed data science team. So they made up a center of excellence in their own company, where we were a bunch of 5 individuals. We had to come up with whole new solution ideas, how to make hardcore data science concepts. So that was what I worked on. Well, MBA had been on the back of my mind ever since the last year of graduation. So there I realized that to start off in the field of my choice, which was the field of investment research and management, the undergraduation degree would not suffice. For one reason, it's not a completely and 100% relevant course to it. Secondly, is undergraduation courses in India are not valued much by corporates because they don't really prepare us for anything apart from little subjective knowledge. So that's when the need became apparent. But then when I started working to get some relevant experience, I realized that the climb from a mid-sized firm or even a big firm like PwC or KPMG, as I heard from my colleagues, is not that easy. It's going to take a lot of time. So just to expedite that process, to make the climb faster and a good credible name next to my on my CV, so I thought this is the best way to do it. So the first time I got to know about the CAT exam, on a serious note, I was just shit scared, to put it one way. Because the only things I've heard is that it's one of the most difficult examinations in the entire country, that so many people give and there are so few seats. The fact that there are 7 to 10 good institutes, and that's where the buck stops. When I started my preparation, I was definitely not confident because my frame of mind was not at my best. Some of the best job interviews I gave that time did not turn out to really well. So I was intimidated, I was nervous for sure. That weighed on my preparation the first time, which actually was the major reason my first attempt did not go well at all. The first preparation strategy was nothing but try all the books, whatever material my coaching center would give me, attend the classes, and practice whenever I could, like along with college. So the whole strategy was around giving equal time to each section. And with the mocks, I was hoping to find out where I'm lacking and where I'm stronger. I think it took me around 5 mocks, which is by the end of August, to realize that DILR was my weakest and verbal was my strongest. Quant was somewhere in the middle, but not good either. The diagnosis took around 4-5 months, and the final exam was actually a confirmation of whatever I thought I was weak and strong at. So that was that. And coming to the score, it was abysmal. So I scored 81 percentile, with I think my DILR was below 30 percentile. So that was my performance there. So once the scores were out, I just told myself, okay, this was nothing out of the blue. I was kind of expecting such a score. And the reason was that I was just not mentally strong enough that time to take on the pressure and to just deal with the whole thing. I took some time to recover from the setback, but then again, when my college ended and I had like a month's break I took that break for myself, and then I asked myself that, okay, what do I need to do? What do I actually want? Not just pertaining to CAT. And then I talked to some of my father's friends who were very established in their own fields. I spoke to like some of my peers who were elder to me, and then from what I could gather, I just realized that CAT is a must for me, if not immediately, but at least in the next 2-3 years. So then I realized that one good thing to do would be to get some work ex. Not only it will add to my profile, but also it will give me some clarity, and that at what stage would CAT be necessary for me. I was tempted otherwise, for sure. I considered an MSc program in India, like a couple of colleges in Mumbai could offer MSc in finance, which was the field I wanted to pursue. But then again, like, I never ruled out CAT completely. And then when I started working, that gave me, some concrete reasons why CAT or the MBA is necessary for me, and the sooner the better. That's what I realized, because it will help me climb up faster, skip a lot of positions which otherwise don't add a lot of value to your career graph. And that's when I realized that CAT is definitely a must. And yeah, like, I just told myself that if I want my career to grow, and if CAT is necessary, there's no way I'm running away from it. For my second attempt, I started my serious preparation in the month of June 2018. So that was coincidentally the month I started working. So initially I knew that at every job you have a couple of months or so training period at most. So I decided to make best use of that and cover as many topics in each area I could. By the end of my first attempt, it was pretty clear to me that DILR required the most attention, followed by quant, and verbal was something I was comfortable in. So I divided my time accordingly, gave the most to DILR, then to quant, and I left verbal with the least share. So this continued for around 2 months. So June, July was all about preparing using the study material and the topic-wise sectional tests. This is what I did. So June is gone, July is gone, then come August. August is when I started with the mock exams. What I did is I would give my best to the mocks, and then at the end of it, the same day which I gave the mock, I would analyze it, go through all the solutions, and if required, solve every wrong answer that I did. And that went on till the end of July. So by August, I increased the frequency of my mocks. So the weekends is what I capitalized most, because we have 2 full days to ourselves. So I decided to give 2 mocks per day, which translated into 4 mocks a week, and hence 16 to 17 mocks a month. So that's where the frequency increased, and the analysis I left for myself towards the weekdays. And from the analysis, I could identify which topics I needed to study. So let's say 4 mocks are given over the weekends. The next week till Tuesday, I would give to my analysis. Wednesday and Thursday, based on the topics which I identified were weak, I would do a few sectional tests, and if required, go through my study material even. Then Friday again, I would give a few sectional tests, and to get me in the rhythm for the next week's 4 tests. This is how the mock strategy worked, and this is what I continued from mid of August right up till my CAT exam, which was 26th November. Coming to the psychological preparation for the day of CAT. So based on my previous experience, it was clear to me that mental conditioning was extremely important. And that was the lack of this mental conditioning was the primary contributor to my poor performance in the last one. So a week before, I decided what I'll do exactly in the 2 days leading up to CAT, and I acted based on that, totally based on that. So that included not giving any mocks since a week before, not referring to any of the study material, no sectional tests, nothing at all related to preparation for the last week. This ensured that I was in a very composed and calm frame of mind. 2 days to CAT, I started telling myself thrice a day that you've done all you can, nothing more that could have been done, and just that. And I try to tell myself that CAT is not a big deal. It's not true, but it helps you to stay calm, especially given my poor experience before this. So I think that helped me stay in a very calm frame of mind, which is essential to cracking such exams. And when I went there, I had a clear strategy in mind that I'll give this much time to each question, and I'll make sure that I don't lose out on questions just because I'm giving way too much time to any particular set. this is what I kept in mind, especially for DI and LR, because it becomes really tempting for candidates to focus on one question until it's solved. These are the things that really worked for me the day before CAT. If I were to refer to my scores and talk about my performance, I believe that it was a complete inversion of my previous scores. So where I thought that VARC was my strongest and that was my forte, I had the lowest score among the three in VARC. And DLR was my second highest and Quant was my highest score. So I was honestly quite surprised that, okay, wasn't expected. So at the end of the exam, I felt confident with my performance, especially in DLR and Quant, because I was able to follow my strategies through, and that gave some sort of assurance and satisfaction. So yeah, it was quite a surprise, the division of scores. So I was actually in the middle of a mock for another entrance test, ZAT, when the scores came out. So it was very hard to continue with the mock I was giving and not just shut the window down and look at the CAT score. So after I looked at it, I was honestly very, very surprised, because if I were to talk about my mock test scores, it was only on 2 occasions that I ever crossed 95 percentile. Towards the end of it, I was consistently above 90 but never crossing 95. So I was more expecting a 96, 97 percentile than what I got, which was significantly higher. So then I looked at it and I really realized that, okay, I may have some good calls coming. Calls I got were from, coming to the IIMs, it was Lucknow, Kozhikode and Indore, and of course all the baby IIMs and Shillong. Then the non-IIMs, if we talk about them, I had SP Gen, I had IFT, then I have IFT before a different exam altogether. Then I had IMT Ghaziabad, MDI Gurgaon. So these were my calls. The one I was expecting was Ahmedabad, because my coaching center mentors told me that given your background and your score, you should expect one. But for some reason that did not happen. Never mind that. So these were my calls, and I was quite hopeful that my calls such as Lucknow, Kozhikode or MDI are the ones I was hoping to convert, including SP Gen. So these were my calls, and coming to the interviews and how these processes went. The first in the season was SP Gen. So I knew that SP Gen had the most different kind of screening procedure with their group interviews and then the second level of interview. So I went in and I made it to the last round of interview, and there I felt I answered all the questions very confidently, and it was quite a comfortable experience. But then again, the results did not reflect it, so I was not selected. So after that, there were a lot of interviews which included IMT Ghaziabad, XUB, which is XIM Bhubaneswar, and all of these. The IIM interview started later on. Kozhikode was my first one, and to be frank, I had a strong feeling I would get in, because the whole process went quite well. If I have to zero in on one, that would be the last question they asked me. So I mean, I'm an economics graduate, so naturally there were a lot of questions pertaining to that. So I was covering some topic called utility, marginal utility, and explaining how that's different from expectations. So the last question one of the panelists asked me was, what is expectation and what is expected utility? How are they different? And give us an example. So I told them that expectations are something which are totally subjective. You can have expectations of a good salary from your employer. You can have expectations of a good gift from your partner. Expectations of the weather being good. It can be anything and everything under the sun. But expected utility, narrows the whole thing down, because utility itself means whatever satisfaction you can derive from use of a commodity or good or service. And expected utility is just an expectation of that utility. I gave the example of my candidature itself. So earlier in the interview, I spoke about how they'll be expecting things from me and I'll be expecting things from the institute. So I took it along those lines, and I told them that by giving me a candidature, giving me a seat in the institute, you'll be expecting that I'll add value to the student pool. I'll bring in things which I can contribute, and I'll be able and I'll do well as part in the academics and in the placement process, and that will actually add value to the institute by bringing it, by continuing the good name. Conversely, I'll have some expectations myself, so good exposure, good placements, really good professors and all that. And I told them that this is how expectation and expected utility are different. So by the end of it, and by giving that answer and the reaction I saw on the panelists' faces, I realized that that was a good answer, and that could have sealed my fate. So the entire journey beginning with my preparation for the second attempt and right up till yesterday. So I would say the whole preparation journey has been a really enriching one for me. So even if had it been the case that I didn't get this call or any other conversion, I would have still been happy with the takeaways I've had through the preparation journey, because finding out the strategy that works for me, doing all of that introspection, the entire process has enabled me to take on better and bigger challenges. So that is why I would value the preparation journey a lot. And coming to my time here, what I've spent a few months, so of course one is just realizing that how really the talent pool looks like, how competitive it is, how rich the talent pool is. Gives you a lot of options to explore further down your career. Then the kind of rigor that is followed here gives you a great opportunity to improve yourself. Like, you can either just slog and pull yourself, or you can actually go with the wave and probably do even better. So that way I believe it's a great opportunity here for any candidate who comes.